Ella eres mi favorita.
Note to self, don't put fucking coffee in front of the arm, dude. I'm so sorry. Worse, it could have been this one.
I think which one was it?
This one. Come on, Kobe. We're barking. All right. All right.
As you just witnessed.
Yeah, I'm a dumbass. But hey, what's new, dude? Y'all already knew that. Welcome back, Houston. Everybody watching this doesn't know, but we already did this, and we were new to the game, and we fucked up not only the footage.
Speaking of dumbasses, you know, some dumbasses pour coffee on people. Some dumbasses don't make enough room for, you know, podcast episodes, so then it cuts off half of it. But hey, man, we always like chilling with Houston, having him here on the podcast.
What's going on, Houston?
Not much. Just waking up. It's kind of early now.
No, I feel you.
No, definitely feel you.
I stayed up to probably like 4 a.m, and then he called me at 9:30 and was like, "All right, yo, somebody was gonna come. That ended up not coming." And I was like, "All right." I put that bitch back on snooze. I didn't wake up till like 10:10.
Yeah.
Now we out here. So what you been working on? What you doing, man?
Just same old, cooking up.
Mix and master. I saw you. Didn't you do the gospel, Rockstar Gospel?
Yeah,
the deluxe.
The
deluxe. Yep, saw that because I was trying to listen to it when it first dropped, and then I couldn't find it on Spotify or Apple, or no, not Apple. Sorry, Spotify. And then LJ had told me to go check it out on Apple. Don't have Apple, but it just showed up on my Spotify yesterday, so gave that a listen. It was dope. Good job.
Oh yeah.
Cheers to you. What's your favorite song off that?
Probably Cargo.
Cargo's hard. Didn't that one have a video and he took it off, or is that one still on there? I can't remember. He took one of his videos off.
I can't remember either. Because Woozy has 1,000 videos. He drops.
Oh yeah,
like a lot.
I believe it though. I've only seen like I guess his recent ones like they're Stabbed, Cargo, what
like Withdrawals.
I mean a lot of good ones for sure.
But you was talking about the pre-pod like conversation. I think that is like good for the buffer of good going into it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. The pre-pod conversations, those are always good. We probably need to have like a
rehash of it,
or like an account or a section where like it's only pre-pod conversations.
That's what I was gonna do with the Patreon coming soon.
You hear that? Patreon coming soon.
So Woozy, 3 a.m. Those are your boys. We are actually kind of fans of them, as we said. Who was the dude you was gonna bring on today?
My homeboy Banks.
Banks. There we go. Banks, not Lloyd. 07.
Yes. Yesterday I told him it was at 11, but I didn't say AM or PM. So he's like, "Yeah, I get off at 10:30," and I'm thinking he knew it was in the morning.
Yeah,
it was at night. So that's how he messed it up. He said,
that's okay. We can catch him another time. I just wanted to say like, when you work with these people, and I'm sure you're friends with them, right?
Well, hold on 1 second. So before we go into that, Houston, first plug yourself on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then let us know like what you have your hands in as far as like, I mean, I know what you do, but you tell the people, you know, kind of what roles you take on, you know, in this music industry.
So y'all go check me out on IG at HoustonXGeorge. And on YouTube. That's where I post most of my beats. But I really just make beats. I mix and master engineer. That's all I can think
there
of.
we
Really.
go.
That's all I can think
Mix,
of.
master, engineer, and make beats. So check out his Instagram. Check out his YouTube.
Sir.
But going into like the question of like friendships with people you work with, like if none of this like went down, if you didn't mix, master, engineer, how many of these people you think you still be like chilling with or whatever? Because that's something that like I had to talk to. Like we talked about like our circle being small, not too long ago, and the fact that like a lot of our circles really are just people that we're working with.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you value these relationships more than just like working relationships?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even if I wasn't doing music, I'd still be hanging out with Banks. Because it's like the relationship exists outside of just music. Like, me and Banks was playing 2K and chilling. We met through a mutual friend who didn't do music at all. Like, they just pull up, we'll watch rap battles and stuff, go to parties and shit. And then I met Woozy through Banks. But even still, like, me and Woozy get up with, like, the kids. Like, we try to take the kids to a carnival or the fair, like, little stuff around, trampoline, bounce houses and stuff, skating, whatever.
You skateboard?
No, I can't skateboard. I don't have balance for shit.
Me neither.
But yeah, like same thing with 3. Like he got a son, and Woozy got a daughter and a son. It's like they're already family, and we just bring our kids in because that's what kids do. They just hang out.
Yeah.
And were you friends with these guys before you started doing music with them, or were you doing music first and then the friendship came along?
I had started music and then met them, but I didn't know like they had been doing music. Like I was just getting started, and Banks introduced me to them.
Right.
It's like, bet they just kind of took me in. You know what I'm saying? Like, no questions asked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it just kind of what that question and your answer and everything made me think about something I heard on Instagram from Rick Ross talking about, there's friendship and then there's partnership, but some of the best partnerships can bloom into an awesome friendship. Whereas sometimes it's hard to start out with a friendship and turn that into a partnership, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So. And I feel like that makes sense for the most part, because like any time, or just looking back on my personal experiences, there have definitely been times where, I tried to do something with friends and be successful, and it's harder. It was harder for me to do that than to find someone whose goal was the same as mine. We weren't necessarily friends or kicked it or whatever, but eventually, having worked together and trying to get somewhere enough, you ultimately end up chopping it up or becoming friends and stuff. But yeah, very interesting.
I think that line kind of gets blurred sometimes, because if you got two people that are always in work mode, when you kick it, you're going to be working.
Facts.
That's facts.
I mean, like,
I mean, well, it depends. I mean, because he was just saying that,
yeah,
they work, but they also find time to, let's all go to the park, take the kids to. I mean, maybe that would also be a part of my lifestyle if I also had kids. Maybe some of the artists who I was working with that had kids or whatever, would also be down to do that. But yeah, man. I mean, I think now, or at least for me personally, my life is definitely more full of the partnerships that have turned into friendships, more so than old friendships that I've had or friendships that have lasted until this point. I don't know. I feel like I get more out of those. Like when we could still be kicking it, but at the same time, at any point, I could ask you a question about work. Like I could be like, "Yo, man, I was listening to that track. How'd you mix this, or that?" But we're also still like at the park, with our kids or whatever. Like that, I think just me as a person, I'm gonna feel more in my natural environment if I'm able to, talk about the things I'm passionate about with the people that I'm kicking it with.
Yeah.
Because there are so many times where like I'm hanging out with a friend that has nothing to do with music, and I just sit there and I'm like, what am I doing here? Like sometimes it really feels like that. I just don't have anything in common.
I
with
feel like sometimes you need those friends too, because you can get too into music, and it's like, bruh, sometimes I just want to talk about basketball or, some stupid shit from back home without, beats and when we're gonna hit the studio type stuff. Factoring into it.
I can feel you on that too. And I think my level of awareness, like for that, needs to be worked on. As far as like, because I feel like I'm always just thinking about music. This or when can we do this? When can we do that? When am I gonna do this? When I'm just like you. I like basketball, I like sports, whatever. Like, I'll take time to do other things, but yeah, it's hard for me, definitely. But speaking of basketball, who you got? The Suns or the Clippers?
I'm rooting for the Suns.
Yeah,
Me too. What about the Bucks or whoever the Bucks are playing?
Going for the Hawks.
Really? Okay. What is the series on the Hawks and Bucks right now?
I think it's
Is it tied?
2-1. I think the Bucks might have just took the second game or
I
the
know-
third game.
I know that man Trey has been going off.
Yeah, he rolled his ankle in the last game though, so he's questionable for game 5.
That's not good
For
for the Hawks.
I don't give a fuck about anybody else. The Nets are out. That was the team that
Really?
Yeah, Nets got knocked out. Correct.
Yeah.
That was the team that I was like, man, these motherfuckers are gonna come in here and roll all over everybody.
Fuck KD. Sorry.
It was, I don't know. I feel like they needed Kyrie more than they needed Harden.
Yeah.
Like if Harden went out, Harden has a history of just choking in the playoffs anyway, which he kind of did. But even if he was a little bit more healthy, like because he was hurt, he can't really do anything outside of score or like flop at the basket, right? So he's not passing. But Kyrie's gonna do whatever it takes to get the game done, like finish it, hurt or not.
I think Antetokounmpo needs a ring this year.
I feel like Chris Paul deserves one before Antetokounmpo because he's getting old.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But also would be a good laugh for me if he never got one.
Who, Chris Paul?
Chris Paul. I don't know, man. There's just something about like talent that don't get rings, like AI, for instance. That is just like you need those legacies in basketball to pinpoint who you don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd still pick to be Chris Paul even if he never won a ring. That man's fire, even though he got his ass crossed up. Did you see? Did you see Paul George last night?
He was going off. I fell asleep on the second half
he went
of the
off,
game.
but it was also a 3 he made. He went to like the perimeter and then just stopped and went back the other way. How did my man Chris Paul go from the 3-point line, fell back and rolled over, and then ended up in the paint, bro, under the basket?
I don't know, man.
He got crossed up.
I feel like Chris Paul hasn't looked the same since he had to go under the little protocol, the health protocol thing. Like before the protocol, the Suns were just like rolling.
Yeah.
And then when he went out, he missed like a week maybe, and he's come back and he looks.
Well, he came in contact with someone with COVID or
I think so, yeah.
wasn't he one of the ones that was just like not giving a fuck? There was a few dudes that were just like out of the bubble, not caring at all.
Dude, I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people, even in like the football world. You have players like who's that? I think Cole Beasley, who came out and said, "I would retire before getting the COVID vaccine."
He said that?
Yeah, because they're talking about it in the NFL, how like the protocol for players who don't have the vaccine is going to be harder for those who do have the vaccine. If you have the vaccine, you don't have to wear a mask. You can, go into your meetings or whatever and do whatever. But if you don't have the vaccine, then you basically have to do the same thing that players were doing last year. And
how are they going to keep track of that, though?
Dude, who knows, man?
Get little cards, man. They're gonna make you bring in them cards.
Well, they got crazy technology. I mean, last year, I think it was last year, on Hard Knocks, the HBO show, where they had the Rams and the Chargers featured. I don't know if that was last year or the year before, but it was during COVID, and they had these little beeper things that people would wear, and if you got too close to somebody, it would like change colors and start making a noise. And it was like, okay, you need to be social distancing, and all that. But like, I was watching the video, the episodes or whatnot. I mean, it was pretty intense, man. They had lines, like they had doctor or like nurses and stuff set up just like to give them the swab test. Okay, go to the next thing or whatever. Pretty intense stuff. But I mean, there's,
imagine doing that every time you walked into that building, like practice or whatever.
I mean, yeah, but dude, I know people who in their daily jobs have to do that. Like, I have a friend who gets tested every day for COVID.
Fuck that.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right? I mean, because I think he goes into like, with his job, he goes into a bunch of different places, including like nursing homes and stuff like that.
But they have the home test. You can buy them at like Walgreens now.
Really?
Yeah, the little kits.
Are you for that or against that? Like, if studios started doing that shit, are you work from the crib forever now, right?
Yeah, I don't think studios are gonna do that, but I mean, I remember when it first happened and I was still in Charlotte. I mean, you couldn't go to the studio as a +1. It had to be your session.
Yeah.
Like, you had to be in there. I remember. I mean, because I was regularly going into Steez's sessions just to be there and, learn some stuff. And then it got to the point where I couldn't anymore because of COVID and everybody was wearing masks. It's like, well, really, they're not letting +1s unless, it's your session, which is understandable. But yeah, I don't think I would be going to any studios if I had to take COVID tests prior to getting in there. I mean, at this point, it's just like, okay, whoever is going to get it has gotten it already or hasn't gotten it yet and will eventually get it or may never get it. And then the people that got the vaccine, well, they can still get it if they haven't gotten it. And then I've also heard that in a year you got to get the shot again or something like that. But anyways... Cole Beasley said he would retire if he was forced to get the COVID vaccine. And he also said that there are other players that feel the same way, but he's not going to blow up their spot.
Respectable.
Right.
So let's dive back into the music. So you did all the mixing and mastering. You did all the mixing and mastering on the original Rockstar Gospel, correct?
Some of it.
I did, yeah, some of it. Because Woozy would just send me, like, the songs already. And so I try to, like, master them and do, like, transitions and stuff to make it one cohesive project.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
And then you had, like, you were, like, the main hand in the deluxe, right?
Mm-hmm. I did the same thing again. So, like, he sends me all the songs already done.
Mm-hmm. Did you have stems or was it like the 2-track?
Just the 2 tracks.
Oh, okay. How does that work? I don't really know much about mixing and mastering in general. I know like who's the big dude, CLA or whatever.
Chris Lord Alge.
Yeah, Chris Lord Alge. I watched one video on him and he was talking about how like get everything on one track, get it on like where you would the effects and all that, and then he masters off the 2-track or whatever.
Right. That's when you're always mastering a 2-track. The mixing process is where you want the stems and all the little pieces, just because you can control the product more. If anyone's listening that doesn't have a clue what we're talking about, mixing would be like taking every little instrument and sound in the song and putting it in front of you, and then being able to make sure that all of those elements blend together and can be heard, clear and precisely. You can mix with just the beat already made and the vocals, but typically, your bigger record producers are going to have all of the elements. They're not just going to have the beat and then the vocals separately. You're typically going to have all of the instruments and sounds. Like, I was on YouTube yesterday watching a YouTube producer and his like girlfriend. She does like vocal samples and stuff, and does like vocal editing videos on YouTube, whatever. And she pulled up the Pro Tools project for her latest single, dude, and it's like fucking over 50 tracks, just tracks. And it's like, I mean, it's just like little things, like details. Like, there's a whole track for just one phrase because she wanted to put, these type of effects on just this one phrase and stuff. I mean, it's crazy, like the level of detail you can go into with that stuff. But it also depends on your client. If your client's sending you the whole beat already done and then just the vocals itself, I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, the most you can do is probably just like drop out the beat, like cut out the beat or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, when I hear albums, generally, they have like a common theme for as far as like the mood or like the like specific sound. Like, for instance, like I think I've talked about this before, Astro World, very airy and ambient in the voices and the music around it. Is there like a signature sound you were going for with Woozy in the mastering process? Is there something you did to like pretty much every track that made it a Woozy track?
Or do you feel like maybe the songs already come in that way?
I feel like I've worked with Woozy to the point where we kind of have an understanding of each other's sound. So it's like, I know what kind of pocket Woozy's going to be in before I even get the tracks.
Right.
And he knows like what I'm capable of or what direction I'm going to go on with the transitions and the mixes and stuff. Because the deluxe, I didn't really put as much into as the original, as far as like having a theme behind it. But still, even as I was developing like how I mix my songs and stuff like that, Woozy was kind of showing me like these kind of effects go hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like one and the same.
Yeah.
Have you done a lot of mastering before this, or is this like your first kind of like real stab at a project?
I did the Still Alive, the 3 project first that came out during the pandemic, and then I did the Rockstar Gospel. I did my homeboy Bando Wallace's tape. Even before the tapes, I was doing like mixes, like DJ mixes, dropping them shits on SoundCloud, like in 2016, like before I even started making beats.
That's dope.
Just cause I don't know, I feel like music sounds better when it's like blended in across phase and stuff.
Dude, it's
By DJ mixes, you mean like for instance, like an hour long like set or whatever?
Yeah, like a 30-minute set of like the newest music or just like underground songs.
and you would like fade those in together. Like, I mean, I have very little experience DJing. Like, I have a basic understanding of it. So like radio fades and learning
like filter. I honestly
filters and
don't
echo.
even know how to DJ. Like, I'm not gonna sit
Okay.
here
Just,
and act like
okay.
I know, but
So I shouldn't have told you that. I should have told you I was an actual DJ, and then I could have made you like shit your pants.
no, like, so even like before I really knew I wanted to start making beats and stuff, I always loved music. I always had like car systems and stuff. So like by the time I finished college, like SoundCloud started popping, and me and my homeboy was like, bro, what can we do? Like, we don't necessarily
To get
want to rap.
Yeah.
We don't want
But
to.
you also want to be a part of like the hype and
Yeah, we want to do something. So I'll never forget. Like, who had that shit? One of my homeboys had one of the little turntable things,
Like a
little,
CDJ.
yeah, like a CDJ, and I plugged it in. I had like the virtual DJ demo, and so I sat there and practiced doing like the transitions in the demo until I got it good enough to record, and I recorded like the first mix, and it was pretty cool. My friend ran it up. We got like at the time maybe a couple hundred or 1,000 plays on like a mix, and it was like, okay, we're doing something, but then it just got to a point where it's like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Like I could continue down this lane, but it's not satisfying enough.
Right.
Yeah, you want to be the one on the mix.
Yeah, like I'd rather make like my own beats or whatever, and that's kind of how I started. But yeah, like the mixing, I always wanted to do like mixing, crossfading.
So that's funny. Me, I always like. I mean, not to disrespect anyone who DJs or takes it or treats it as their craft or their art, but me, like, I learned how to DJ through necessity. I was working at a music school. They needed DJ teachers. I was like, fuck it, I'll teach myself how to DJ. I learned the basics on how to like cue up shit, how to do basic scratches, how to do the radio fades in and out, and how to do some of the transitions, or like how you end with like an echo and then it echoes and then it comes into the next song and stuff like that. I mean, that was stuff that I worked on, but I found it easy just because, like, as someone who loves music and having more experience with production, like it was natural. I mean, it was just kind of like learning the hardware was, its own lesson in itself, but just the conceptual stuff of the high pass filter going into the low pass filter, like, that all made sense to me. But when it comes to like the hard stuff, like scratching and stuff, DJ was definitely not something that I was like, okay, I'm happy with the basics, just enough to do these Sweet 16s, because I was doing a couple of Sweet 16s, bro. They pay you.
I bet they did.
Bro, I was there for 3 hours and got like $400.
Even when I think to like wedding DJs, like
Bro.
The songs they play and the level of like mixing they're really doing, it's more like a playlist.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
They get paid.
A human playlist.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at a wedding, like you're not going to be doing no crazy. Marita on the Marita on the track.
That's the DJ I want at my wedding. I need gunshots.
Yeah, you still
gotta
have the skills just in case somebody
Just
does
in
want
case.
that.
Well, the funny thing is, I was at one Sweet 16 where, like, her mom was cool as fuck, and she told me to play like a Justin Timberlake song. I think it was Bringing Sexy Back, and I think he cusses a lot in that song, and I didn't realize that I had the explicit version playing. So then he goes and like says the first like F-bomb or something like that. I'm like, oh fuck. Her mom looks at me and is like, yeah, this is the version I'm talking about, and starts fucking dancing with her kids and shit there. I'm like, yo, this place is awesome.
Dodged a bullet.
The
there.
16-year-olds know how to turn up, bro.
You could have fucked around and got kicked out the Sweet 16, dude.
I could have, bro, but God was looking out for me.
For sure. That's, I don't know.
So a question for you, because this has actually come up to me, and I've kind of entertained the idea as a joke. But okay, let's say one of your artists is like, yo, man, I'm doing some shows. I want you to be my DJ. Would you do it?
I'll try. Why not?
Hey, that's all I like to hear. I'll try it. That's
something to do.
because that's what I was thinking too. I mean, it's something to do. Be the hype man. Turn it up. You know what I'm saying?
I know like a lot of the bigger acts, like their DJs in turn get like really famous from like working with them and being on stage with them a lot. Like one of the I was gonna say Gata, but he's a fucking hype man. Anyway,
That's the dude from the Lil Dicky show.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's actually his hype man in real life. That's why
Right.
he's in the show.
See, I didn't know that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
If you've ever, do you like watching like live sets on YouTube or something, like anything like that? Have you ever like dove down that rabbit hole?
Mm-mm.
There's these like live festivals that go on over in Europe, like Reading Festival and like ones over in like Sweden and all that. They record the whole set for each of the artists and then full produce the sound behind it. So it's like an actual like hour-long video of a live set that actually sounds good.
Oh,
It's
so
not
they like post-produce it.
Yeah.
So like they'll record the performance and then mix it. So it's like
I watched one.
So they record it.
Yeah, so like they do the live performance, but it's going through like
It's like being mixed real time.
I
Like
think
while they're performing.
they might mix it after a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't really know how. Like I don't know what the post production's like.
It goes into a rig, so they'll have like Pro Tools with all the tracks set up. So, and then they record it. Whether I don't know how it coincides with their live sound, because I know that's a different beast.
Yeah.
But you can record it and then post produce it. So, after the show's done, you just open up the session and then treat it
Mix
like,
it.
yeah, it's your fucking, it's a song or some shit.
But Little Dicky did one, and him and Gato went all the way off. It was like one of the because I watch them all the time. Like I'll just put them on the TV while I'm like cleaning the house or something, instead of like listening to Spotify sometimes. So I could feel like I'm at the show, like jamming out or whatever.
That's pretty cool. I haven't. That's like a whole, like you said, another rabbit hole I've never even thought.
Yeah. But I was just say that to say like we could use Gato as an example. Like
The one that came to mind for me, I think there might have been like a Beyonce one on Netflix.
Yeah,
that I watched for my girl.
Definitely. I would say if you're gonna check them out, like if you're gonna dive down that rabbit hole at any point, check out the Lil Dicky one. You just type in these like live shows, and they'll be the first one that comes out. Lil Dicky, Aesop, Ferg, and Suicide Boys. Those three shows went crazy over there in Europe, and then they did the whole like post production thing. But anyway, just to say that like, no doubt that the credit is due for like these DJs and these hype men that get famous off that, but more specifically DJs. Like when it comes to like DJ on a live show, and not that because you said you've never done it, and neither of you, but you guys are the experienced knob turners, plug-in people, know where goes what and how to do it. How much work do you think actually goes into going up on stage and DJing a live performance?
A lot.
A lot? Like in the moment? Is there a lot going on like right there?
Just because you gotta perform, you know what I mean? Like if you want to do any kind of performance, whether it be music, athletic, like
acting.
Acting. Like you have to put in the work to make sure the performance that people see is flawless.
My answer was just like that.
Because it's like if you make a beat, like I could make a quick beat and it might not be compressed or EQ'd right and send it to Marita or somebody, and they can still get the gist and be like, oh, this is fire. Yeah. And then it can get mixed by another engineer or somebody after the fact. But if you do a performance, like that's it. Like all people are going to remember is the time you tripped and fell or how you forgot your words.
That moment in time.
Yeah, where you fucked up. Like
and too, like to kind of piggyback off that, I would treat DJing, if it were me personally, I would treat it like I would treat any other instrument that I've performed with. Yeah. Like it would be something like the artist and I would need to practice. Like, yo, let's drop the beat here, and like it would just be a set. It would be rehearsed on mine and your end, but to the audience, it would be that show, like just the showmanship. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. Because when I hear the word show, I just think it's short for showmanship. People that like. One reason that I'm excited to see 3 on Thursday is because he's going to have a band. Like that's one thing I talk about pretty often is that like I would love to see more acts actually have like bands and musicians behind them and stuff. So, that'll be cool to see, but the showmanship is super important when it comes to making an impression on people. Like you said, like if I were to send a song that's unfinished to like a common or an average listener, common, you plebeian. No, if I were to send like, and that's why I never share music with like my friends or whatever, people who don't really do music, is because if you send them that unfinished product, that's not a good representation of, what that's going to be. And people aren't going to be like me, where it's like, oh, I understand what he's trying to do here. That's hard. As opposed to, that idea sucks because I don't know what you're trying to do here. And that's not hard. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I feel like that's what average listeners do when they're hearing unreleased music, is like, it's, I feel like that's why I just don't do it. Like, and it's like, nope, I'm not showing people music anymore, because no one's really gonna appreciate, what you think, what it's gonna be, or like I said earlier, if I were to show you something, you'd be like, okay, I can hear where that's going. That's hard, as opposed to,
Hell yeah.
My mom, she'd be like, this sucks.
Do you have those people around you? Like, I mean, it could be like your wife or a friend that doesn't do music, that like you send them like unreleased shit to be like, yo, are you fucking with this? Like, is this like?
Cause definitely will send shit to. Like, I got a friend in Atlanta. He'd be around a lot of music and stuff, but he doesn't do it. I'll send him beats. He'll let me know, or I play it for my kids. They'll let me know if they like a beat or not. My wife definitely in the earlier stages.
A good resource. You said in the early stages?
Yeah. Back when, like, music was exciting. And, like, you're just playing beats all the time. Like, my mixes and shit suck. And she'll be like, oh,
that's loud.
Yeah, like, that's a little, it's got a lot of bass in it. Like, but looking back, it's like, what you wanted your beat to sound like. And so when you bounce it out, you don't hear anything outside of like your vision, even though it's not like fully executed. So
I got one person that I send stuff to that's unreleased. I used to just be like throwing it out to like all my friends. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Now I don't do that. I got one person outside of music that I will send a track to get their opinion on it, because I know that like even when it drops, they're still going to be listening to it. It's going to go on their playlist. And he's also going to be very brutally honest with me too. Mm-hmm. Like I've sent this person tracks before and been, and this, mind you, this dude doesn't do music at all. He's a lineman. He works with electricity. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like that's all he pretty much does. And he will tell me like, yo, that is not good. Do not put that out. Or, hey, this one's going on the playlist as soon as it hits Spotify, So it's like, piggybacking off what Marita says all the time, I don't be sending out music a lot because I need that one play. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, if you've listened to it 30 times already, when it drops, you're not going to listen to it again. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. I mean, I feel like that's how that's going to go. So, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword sending out unreleased material, because it does kind of bring some hype, but at the same time, the hype's dead by the time it comes out.
And I feel like that leads me into like a conversation that I have with myself way too often, and it's like, do people love music as much as I do? Because if I answer correct,
no, people don't.
Absolutely. So I'm always having to bring myself down to earth, and my expectations are always super low in that regard, because people aren't gonna love music as much as we do. But people love music, but they don't
love music.
They're not in love with music.
And I feel like the same way with like food. Like recently I've had this like conversation with myself, and like my wife, like she loves food. Like she always wants like some new or some different food.
She lives to eat.
Yeah. And it's like, I kind of don't care. Like I could eat Chick-fil-A every day for the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, that's because it's good food though.
It's good, but it's like I could just eat chicken and French fries. Like I don't have a strong desire. Right. And that's how most people's appetite is with music. Like they don't want to listen to anything outside of what they hear on the radio.
Yeah.
They're not gonna dig, or they're not gonna look for new artists. They're just gonna go with whatever.
Yep. That's why I think pop is pop. I think that's why pop is what it is today, because they've really the industry has really narrowed in on the fact that people are not going to go out of their way to listen to new music, but if it's clean enough to get on the radio, edgy enough to get someone's attention, and catchy enough for them to get to sing it, there's a formula that they have figured out to try and get people to listen to this song on the radio more than another song on the radio. That's why sometimes you will turn the radio on in your car, hear a song, go inside to a store, come back out, and on the same station within 20 minutes, they're playing the same song literally over and over.
I think, though, that a lot of with the pop songs, those songs were popular before they were, put in that position. Like that, those songs are popular before they're on the radio. I don't know how much. It's happened to me so many times where I feel like this is the first time I'm hearing this, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is new. And then I go and look at the song or the artist, and it already has like 60 million plays or something crazy like that. And it's like, why is this the first time I'm hearing it? But it's not new whatsoever. It's been out. And I feel like that's what popular music is. It has to be popular in order to be on the radio.
But you got to consider. I feel like you got to consider the source on that, because, like, for instance, Justin Bieber, "Yummy." What was that, like 2 years ago or something like that? That song was fucking awful. But as soon as he dropped it, the shit had like 2 million the first day.
Well, it was because it's Justin Bieber, though.
Like, yeah, but you're talking about pop on the radio, no matter who it is, fucking Harry Styles.
But that proves my point, though. It was popular before the song "Yummy" was popular before it was even dropped, because it's Justin Bieber's song.
Well, yeah.
So someone like him is going to get radio play, whereas let's say Houston is a pop star. He's singing, doing his thing. In order to be on the radio, his song has to have already been popular. It has to have been proven that people are listening to his music and that the people enjoy it for a radio station to be like, and this next song is on the Billboard something chart here, Houston, George, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Justin Bieber, dude, any person who loves, I'm going to go listen to "Yummy." If, like,
he's
he's
established now.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber's an established
right.
artist.
Any of his fans are going to go at least try any song that he puts out, whether it's trash or not. I mean, I didn't really like the song either, but I don't know if Justin Bieber is a good example in that sense, because anyone is going to listen to his song. I mean, "Yummy" blew up regardless.
It was a shame.
So, but what about someone like Olivia Rodrigo? With that "Driver's License" song.
I don't know. That's some TikTok shit right there, to be honest with you.
Right. But only after it was on TikTok did I start hearing it on the radio.
It was on the radio because it was on TikTok.
But
right,
got
that's
popular.
my point.
You got to figure out a way to make your track popular. Like,
correct.
It
needs to be popular before it gets to
catchy.
When it's on the radio, it has been popular, is my point. It had been popular before it was on the radio. So with that "Driver's License" song, and then the song she stole from Paramore, combined with all of that, now she has more monthly listeners than Drake and DaBaby.
Who was this?
My point, bro. Olivia Rodrigo, the "Something is Something Pass By Your Lonely Street" or whatever I butchered the hell out of it.
I have never heard this song.
Bro, stop. Are you? Damn it. We can't do it on the podcast. And then
I'm gonna listen to it after the fact.
No, we'll listen to it. But do you know the song Paramore, or the band Paramore?
Mm-hmm.
Meant to break.
Misery Business.
Yeah,
Misery Business, yeah.
This girl Olivia Rodrigo literally came out with a song with the same melody. I had sat down with this man and I sang the "Misery Business" hook over the hook of this Olivia Rodrigo song, and we were just like, bro, what?
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up. Because
but Pharrell can get sued. Pharrell and Robin Thicke can get sued for matching vibes. Crazy. It's a weird world we live. But anyways.
Hey, bro, you start suing people for vibes, some of y'all owe me some money, yo. Some of y'all about to pay up.
I mean, everybody's starting to feel that way now. Everyone's
I feel like that's why music is kind of the way it is now, because everybody is trying to emulate something that's popular so that it'll be more readily like accepted.
Yeah. I mean, as far as like Olivia Rodrigo goes, I mean, yeah, well, when did Misery Business come out? What year you think? I was still in high school, so like 2008, 2007.
Long time ago, 2006. Man, I'm about to look it up, bro.
You're talking about 15 years. That's a classic rock song now.
I'm gonna say 2005.
2005? Very possible. I mean, that's a classic rock song now. I'm sure them kids were like, hey, like, there's this melody, this classic rock band called Paramore already did.
They listen to
2007.
Paramore. It was 2007?
Bro. But it's like... okay, so how many people do you think have been successful in the music industry? How many artists can you name who you think are a copycat of someone? So does that reaction mean you could name a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so my point is this. I don't think if someone in my position, just a normal citizen of society, could make the conscious decision and say, I'm going to aim to be like this person on the mic without resources. There's no way as a new artist, I can engineer myself, produce myself with the help of, no producer, with the help of no one. Okay. I'm picking out my own beats, I'm engineering myself, and I'm producing myself. And my goal is to sound like Young Thug. That's impossible. Because the people that created Young Thug are his team. The engineers, the people that are making the beats around him, et cetera, et cetera.
Young Thug's kind of a different story.
Well, okay, let's say Drake then. You got 40 and Drake.
Well, Drake is a copycat too. I mean, he is inspired.
Drake is
what I'm trying to argue is that, there are people that are emulating other people, but I think, or at least my opinion, the only way you can do that and be successful is if you have the resources.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you have a fire ass studio with a fire ass engineer, then you can sound like Future all you want because they can make that happen. I couldn't make myself, what I'm saying? Like as a new artist, I can't make myself sound like that.
I think you could if you really like.
Well, I guess if I dove into it, but then I'd be who I am now. Someone who has a hand in everything, but I'm not amazing at one thing.
Right.
Whereas like, these artists that we know, they're known for what they do because they're amazing at it. And they probably had a team to help them. I mean, this is all speculation, we're just...
They had their team, they had their vision too of what they wanted their end product to sound like.
Right. And they got the people, that can do that can, make that happen to do that. And that's why I feel like, as a young artist, you're not going to be successful trying to be someone else. The reason they're there is for a whole fucking bag of reasons. The engineer they have is fucking fire.
And two,
as fuck.
I feel like there's a difference between...
Like if I said I want to be Post Malone as a first-time artist, right? And I want my first song to sound like Post Malone, I'm setting myself up for failure. Ain't no engineer in...
You could try and make like the harmonies and the melodies. You could try and structure a Post Malone type song.
Right.
But the breakdown is like you can't remake someone's song. You can use it as a framework for a song that you want to make though. Like if this was art, like if we were in art class, right? You can't remake the Mona Lisa. You could if you really wanted to, but it would just be a tribute to the Mona Lisa, right? It's
Correct.
A recreation. But you could use the same style of painting that whoever made the Mona Lisa made and make your own painting.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, like pointillism, you used a bunch of little dots or you used charcoal or whatever.
So there's the gem then. There's the sauce for it. Not to completely emulate someone, but, inspiration is always a good thing. If I'm like so if you've ever heard a track of mine, which you probably have in the group chat or whatever, like I have like kind of like a raspy kind of rock voice sound, but I have had people tell me, not that I agree with them or whatever, that I sound like Post Malone or that I sound like the Kid Leroy or something like that. And I'm just like, while I don't necessarily agree with you, I can see that because I do listen to their music on occasion. And It's not like I aim to be Post Malone, but because of similar backgrounds, I am inspired by what he does. And I think that just naturally is infused into my music where, I never made the conscious decision, okay, I'm a fucking make a Post Malone track right now.
Yeah.
And be just like Post Malone and try and do that. Like,
I think it would be like super difficult for you to pinpoint any artist that doesn't have a similarity to someone else. I mean, at this point in time, music is all just a progression of the same genres that have come before it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, hip hop and EDM, I think, were the last genres to be invented. And call me crazy.
You're talking about like bigger umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, bit like you got hip hop, but then you have subgenres, that all kind of stem down from it. You got EDM subgenres, all kind of stem from it. Hip hop and EDM are the last umbrellas to be created, and now we're just branching out. From there. Sometimes they
there's
cross
no
over.
real new umbrella. Like there's no new you have rock, country, alternative, indie, hip hop, EDM, jazz, classical.
And that even stems out to like more cultural types of music, like dance hall or like the sitar. I don't know what you would call that, Bollywood. That would be. I think depending on the repertoire, that would determine, what they're. I mean, you're not going to find the sitar playing Katy Perry, so that kind of rules out pop. Maybe. Yeah, you can find it on YouTube somewhere. I promise, but
probably in some classical genre or something where.
But I'd say that only to say that, like, for you to not you, just you as in like a general term, speaking to the broader world. For anyone to say that, like, oh, like you got to pay homage because you're fucking Young Thug's son. It's like, yeah, but whose father is Young Thug, dude? Like, because that's coming from somewhere too. Same with Drake. Like a lot of the fucking newer acts, they look up to Drake, Young Thug, Future, all of these heads in the game now. But those heads also came from somewhere else in music. Those dudes also, I mean, if you ask me, they all need to fucking kiss the ring of T-Pain. Most of them wouldn't be here without, T-Pain and Cher, sticking their neck on the line and using that auto-tune shit that literally changed the game for everybody.
Everyone. And it's still prevalent today.
Yeah.
Will never not be prevalent ever.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Every time you go to record somebody, you are 100% going to have that Antares or that Waves real time on the tracking vocal. Just like, hey, man, yeah, we know you can't sing. Oh, man.
I mean, that's facts, though, because, like, if autotune wasn't a real thing, I probably would never even try to do this shit personally.
I mean, but even as a tool, though, like, have you yourself ever been like, you know what, let me set this mic up and see what I sound like on the mic?
Oh, definitely.
So, were you feeling yourself when you had your vocal chain on there, or were you feeling yourself when you didn't have your vocal chain on there?
I have to, if I ever record, I have to have effects on because I hate how my voice sounds.
Exactly. And it's a tool. Like my brain goes from like a 30% confidence level to when I throw that CLA, that Waves tune and some reverb on there, I go to a 90% confidence level.
If I'm ever on a track, I'm just playing around, like,
right?
Because maybe I just feel like recording, but nobody's about to come through, so I'll just record myself.
Hey, man,
you have a lot of those in the vault. No,
he said, he's lying to you.
Because it's maybe once every couple of months, just to see if I can still do it.
Yeah.
Can you still do it?
I don't know. It's about that time.
Hey, man.
Make a new
man, you might have to get on the track.
But I always stop because if it gets to a point where it feels like it's too much work, like
Yep.
I'm like, I don't want to do this that bad.
Yeah, I mean that's that's interesting that you say that, because at some point we have to decide what hat we want to wear the most. And then if you're spending your time trying to get better on the vocal, well then there needs to be a purpose for that. Like
Right.
if you're just sitting there just to get better, I mean nothing wrong with that, but you could be using your time more wisely, working on something or getting better at beats or getting better at mixing or mastering something that actually, puts food on the table as opposed to the vocal side of it. And I'm kind of on the fence right now. I mean, I've been flirting with artistry and like getting on the mic, and I mean, it's something that I'm not new to, but in this particular time and genre of music, it's new for me. So I definitely understand the feeling of when it gets to be too much work, especially like coming up with the lyrics. If it starts to be like I'm just sitting here like thinking too hard about what the next line is, like then that's when it doesn't become fun for me. Whereas I feel like maybe like someone whose main role is to come up with the lyrics.
Kobe.
Kobe.
He's trying to be on the podcast too.
This guy. Where if like, it's your role, right? And your main goal is to just come up with the lyrics, your job is to come up with the lyrics. There's no, all right, well, I'm not really knowing what the next line is. We're just going to shut it all down. Like, that's what I do to myself. If I'm just in the studio working on lyrics, it's like, oh, well, nothing's coming to me. I'm just going to save it and come back to it another time. Like, if you were to do that, then I'd be like, bro, why are you touching my computer? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
It definitely gets intimidating, especially when it's like, do you do a lot of like creation of instrumentals like in front of other or in front of like the person who's going to be writing the lyrics and performing on the track?
like live
No,
cook-ups.
I really only cook up like in the mornings from now till maybe about like 1, 2 at the latest. Just because I feel like that's when my brain is freshest.
I feel you. That's facts, dude. There's a lot of people out here that don't understand the value of like actually getting up in the morning early and, being ready to work when the sun's like coming up. Like it's already been up, you know what I'm saying? Like there is a vibe there that I like the early morning, like early morning motivation that is different from being up at like 1 a.m, like having a session to like 4 a.m. or some shit. I prefer that like way more. So I understand what you're talking about. What the fuck was I just saying before that? You just like sparked like real creative, like reminiscent vibes right there for me, thinking about being up early as shit in the morning and just start working.
Well, he was saying that he has to do most of his stuff in the morning because he feels like his brain is the freshest, in which, you agreed with him. I would also agree. However, I feel like recently in the last year, I've been blessed enough to be able to cook up with artists on the spot. Now that I feel like almost spoiled in a way, when I go to cook up by myself, it's like, I mean, it's still always fun, but it's just this shade less fun because I like to be able to, have the intention of making a song. It's like if him and I are making a beat together in person, well, then we're usually going to record on it right after. So while I'm making the beat, he's coming up with lyrics and we're coming up with an idea for the song or a concept. But when I'm making beats by myself, I just make the beat and it's hard to me, but it's like, okay, the beat's done. And then that's it. And I just open up another project and make another beat. I mean, it's fun, but it's just,
It gets repetitive. It gets monotonous.
it does, man. It does. Not that, I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times on the podcast about how like, doing too much of it can burn you out and all that stuff. But it does get pretty monotonous when you look at it from a bird's eye view. But I mean, you know, there's hardly anything else I'd rather be doing though. It's weird. Like, I mean, when I was young, I was so unfocused. I would have.
It's still me to this day.
You think so?
Being unfocused.
I don't know, man. I feel like, I mean, in the short time that I've known you, you're pretty on top of, or at least just kind of knowing your demeanor.
I have to. With
I mean, like when we went to In the Cut, bro, you're like, man, I gotta go. I gotta be here for this thing and for that thing. Like, but we got there on time. You left when you said you were going to. Like, you have this regimen about you. I mean, I respect that. Like, it takes discipline to be able to stick to.
It definitely does. The self-discipline, especially if you know you struggle with like staying focused and staying on top.
Yep.
You gotta be extra on yourself.
Extra,
you know,
brother.
And with the music, like it helps me like have that constant variable. So like no matter how crazy life is going, like I can always come back and make a beat or post a video. Or, you know, like that's gonna stay forever.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really
sweat
it too much or be too pressed, because I'm gonna always do it. But it's the other stuff like family or work. And
that's another, and just it compounds on my respect for you, because on top of all that, you're a family man. You know, self-discipline, and on top of that, yesterday when you're like, "Can I bring my boy Banks through?" Literally, the first video I click on his YouTube, Houston, we have a problem.
Which one? Oh yeah,
Super
that
Cat.
set, the Super Cat.
Yeah. I was listening. I just randomly clicked on a video. It was Super
Is
Cat.
that out?
And I was like,
yeah, it's hard, dude. I liked it.
Yeah. And my thing is like, it dropped like a week ago, I think, or a couple of days ago. But my thing is like, I never see on your Instagram, I never see you like posting about, oh, I just this song with this artist drop, this song with that artist drop. But the first thing I go to look from is a beat from Houston. So my man's working in silence.
I really didn't know this came out.
Look, you hear that? My man is
He's
so
working
focused,
so much, he don't even know.
So on his work, he don't even know when his music drops.
I have to find it. I'm gonna find it after this.
Let's play it. Well, I guess we're about to at some point.
Yeah,
what time is it? I gotta get lunch soon.
You want to take a break and put the video here?
Yeah. We can. Let's take a break here.
You want to watch the Super Cat video?
Yeah.
All right, introduce it.
This is Banks and me on the beat. I guess this is Super Cat video.
Plug him on Instagram.
Oh yeah, on IG at Banks Not Lloyd. Or no, what is it now? Is it Godbody Banks? Yeah, Godbody Banks.
I was smoking with this bitch the other day, man. Told her to roll it backwards. She talking about she can roll backwards. Give it a backward. First thing she do, split the shit down the middle. I'm like, bitch, this ain't no motherfucking cigarillo. You gotta unravel this shit and tuck and roll this motherfucker, baby. Fuck is wrong with you? What the policeman from me, I do want harass us every day. The policeman from me, I'd say it's my marijuana place. What the police them want robbery, reach and everything. What the police them want lock, we and throw away the key. Fire. Police them raise fire. Raise fire. Police them raise fire. Hey, fuck the government and fuck the sheriff. I'm riding with this chopper, shaking shit just like Shakira. Rocket popping, bodies dropping, souls gon' disappear. This doc gon' top me off, and how I know she put her hair up. When I found out it's my dog, who say show me if I my head up. Ain't working for the law, this whole time when he met my brothers. When it popping out the rod, I could have boy smooth just like butter. See these niggas don't be raw, they act like bras move just like mothers. What the police them from me, I do all harass us every day. With the policeman from me, I'd say it's my marijuana place. What the police them want robbery, reach and everything. What the police them want rock, we and throw away the key. Fire. Police them raise fire. Raise fire. Police them raise fire.
All right, we back. That was Super Cat. Well, I'll let you.
Yeah, that
rehash
was
it.
Super Cat by Banks.
And that's
by me.
at Godbody Banks
Yeah, at
on
God Body
Instagram
Banks.
or
IG.
Godbody space Banks on YouTube.
Yes.
I said it, I said it during the break, but I was not expecting that. Like that was the first one I clicked on because I like the color blue. When I went on his channel, I was like that color. I'll click on that. And then when I started playing, I was like, okay, this is more of my, because I'm more of like a boom bap guy.
Right. That was my first time watching the video. I didn't even know it existed until y'all told me about it. So that was cool. Shouts out to Banks.
That's funny.
Is the boom bap vibes, is that kind of like, do you like to live in that space, or is that just kind of something that happened as you were making that instrumental? Because I loved that personally.
Boom bap. Boom bap is boom bap. I don't know. I mean, I like boom bap. I haven't really listened to it as much recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's definitely like, what would you consider boom bap?
Pull the mic closer to you. In this day and age, I would consider like Griselda for sure. You know, I mean, they've definitely taken like a darker like turn on what boom bap is and modernized it.
Mm-hmm.
But like what's his name? Harry
Fraud.
Harry Fraud.
Fraud.
I love Harry Fraud.
Harry Fraud's fire.
He goes crazy.
I feel like there's a modern version of boom bap though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that's the one that's more palatable to me. I mean, there's definitely like boom bap beats that I like, but just like, I mean, the swing of it gets old to me. Like I needed that modern kind of like Harry Fraudish or Alchemist kind of way of doing things where, you know, you mix the qualities of what, you know, what's hot right now with that same style to get like, you know, maybe the sample is this like crazy vinyl sample sound or whatever, and maybe is the snare and the hi-hats to give it that like lazy like drum kit feel, but then that kick and that 808 knock the fuck out of the track, and it's just like, okay, yeah, this, I'm used to this, but I'm also hearing this sound that, you know, I used to like, you know, and as your taste gets you know, different, because I remember I used to start out listening to like conscious rap, and I feel like a lot of rappers, you know, that do conscious rap will slide on boom bap beats.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Like Joey Badass, one of my all-time favorites.
Hard.
Like Joey Badass, Mac Miller, fuck with Mac Miller, like especially like early days.
J. Cole, Kendrick,
yeah. They slide on some
Action
boom bap.
Bronson.
Action Bronson for sure. One of the goats of the boom bap stuff. I mean, and like I think for me personally, because I am like a lyricist, like, you know, like I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a rapper per se, just because I don't think that like me personally like flows real well with just like the guttural like rap voice, but if I'm listening to hip hop and like you give me these genres, I'm more than likely I'm going to pick like Wu-Tang or Griselda or Joey Badass.
See, I didn't really listen to much Joey Badass or Griselda. I mostly be on like trap beats, just because it is so prevalent.
So who would you say? Let's start out with first the producers. Who would say you're some influential producers, like motherfuckers that you were like, fuck, this beat is hard, I want to do something like this right away, like that. That's or at least that's how I see, you know, an influential producer.
I would say Pharrell, or just like the whole Neptunes. Like that was one of the first CDs I ever got, was that the Neptunes Presents like the Clones. It was just like a compilation tape, and like all the beats on it were crazy, but all the songs were like different. Like you might have Snoop Dogg on a song, and then the clips, and then you could have like Khalees. Like that's one of my favorite, but really like that Neptune sound. Kanye with the samples, like how he chopped, like it's kind of like a mix between Kanye and like when Diplomats came out and they was doing the real crazy like chops and stuff. I love that. And then I love like Pierre Bourne.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just created like this motif of sounds for his beats.
My man said motif.
It's like the same sounds and like the same patterns for like all his beats, but the way he's mastered it, like it always sounds like refreshed. And even though it's easy to like emulate, if you like try to copy one of his beats, it's still not gonna sound the same as how he does it. Like, I don't know. I'm fascinated by that.
That mindset crosses over into a lot of things I've noticed, like, because we were literally just talking about how like people try to like emulate sounds. Well, I feel like the reason why you like these sounds so much is because this person did it. So if you're trying to copy it, it's not gonna feel the same because it's not Drake on that flow. It's not Pierre, making that wavy beat, like,
which he has already mastered, and he made the sound.
Yeah, it's like he made and mastered that sound.
Yeah,
and it's been like, we talked about inspiration, but it's like inspirational as far as like honing in or developing your own sound. Like, even if you feel like you're making the same beat over and over again, each time you make your beat, you do something a little different, or tweak or try and just like expand on what you did before until you have like your overall sound of like, I like to do these kind of snare patterns or this with the hi-hat. So, and that's just working on your own sound.
Mm-hmm.
The hi-hat game is crazy, dude. I didn't think that I didn't think as much went into thinking about the placement of your hi-hats as it actually does. Like, I watch him do it and play around with it, like making it instrumental. He'll put it one way, be like, nah, change it another way, change it a different way, not fucking with that, do it a fourth way.
Yeah.
And every single time I'm like, that's fire. That's more fire. That's way more fire. And then you hear people say like, oh, I'm fucking with your hi-hat game. That shit's crazy. You got to teach me that. And I'm just like, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
there's
LJ,
levels to it.
Yeah, LJ said that to me when he came here. He was like, yo, I'm fucking with those hi-hats. And yeah, like from a producer, it's like, I mean, you that's natural to say things like,
I was just at this cook-up In the Cut like a week or two ago, and Sin was there. And he was talking, like, Sin make the craziest beats, but even in that, he's like, yeah, bro, I can't stand doing the hi-hats. You know what I'm saying? Like, different people like doing different stuff.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come to love hi-hats. I mean, me personally, I used to be the guy that would just put the eight note pattern, and then I started trying to get more like, I guess creative with it. I'm not gonna give out my own sauce, but
I'm about to start taking notes now.
bro, simple is better. And then on your hi-hats, if you put a little something on it,
yeah,
fuck it. I put reverb and I'll put like an eighth note delay. So then it just sounds like there's space. Or sometimes I'll put like a half note delay, depending on how much, or quarter note, just depending on how much I want it delayed. But if you do it simple and then you put that delay, it sounds like you have more hi-hats, but you really don't. And then like almost the sauce of it is too, is like I'll go in and play with like the velocity of the hi-hats, but the delay of the original hi-hat is going to be even more dynamic in, how loud or soft it is, because it's not the actual hi-hat hitting. It's just, a ghost of that hi-hat. So that's why, like, recently I've been feeling like my hi-hats have way more bounce now, because there's so much dynamic range and like when they're hitting, and then like I'll make them quiet all the way right before they get to the clap, so that it leads up into that loud ass clap. And then it just feels to me in my brain like, okay, there's movement here, and I don't even have to do so much. Like, I felt like I used to have to put like fucking glitches everywhere, like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the hi-hats, when you really don't have to do that. Like, you can just be simple as fuck and put some reverb and delay. Good to go. What? Definitely recommend trying that.
Check it out.
What do you think is your favorite? So you said Pierre Bourne. Pharrell. You said Kanye. And then what would you say is your favorite thing to do making beats? Like when you get to that step, you're like, okay, you pull up your pants. You're like, okay, now it's time. Now I'm ready to start actually making the beat. Because maybe that's just me. Because sometimes I'll pull the loop in and I get the vibe together. And then I'll put the claps and everything in. And then really, it's not until that point do I feel like the music's actually coming together.
I feel like I like to do like the drums and the percussion.
So do you do that first? Or do you do that after you've have the melody?
It depends. So like if I'm trying to make something wavy, I'll make my melodies first. Because it's probably just like a bunch of pads and synths and bells. And I know where all those are in my VSTs. But if I'm making something like more trappy, like I'm not the best at making those melodies. So I'll just make like the drums first. And then I might leave it where it's just a drum type beat. Or I'll find a loop or something, put it in there, and then match up the keys of the drums and stuff. This is lazy. This is mine. This is how I make my.
Hey man, it works.
My beats.
Everybody's process works differently. I mean, because that, like, okay, you make beats and you have artists that you work with and people that really fuck with your beats. But you make beats. I mean, I've probably made beats with the drums first, like 3 times total in my entire life.
You should try it out. It's fun.
And that's why I love shit like this, is because when you really dive deep with people, you know, because you can get a hard product by doing that. I've personally I guess I haven't tried it enough because I got better results with the way that I do things now. But yeah,
and I feel like too, the difference is, like we've talked about musical background, and I've come to a point in my production where I realized, like, because I can't like play piano or whatever, like there's limits to my music theory knowledge. If I make a melody with like the keys or like a plugin or something, my melodies are only gonna sound but like so good. Whereas like I could go pull a loop that is broken out into 3 different sections with all these intricate parts, and I just want to make a fire beat at the end of the day too.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of where I got, like, if I'm not making the melody, then my drums and my percussion and stuff gonna go crazy. But if I'm making the melody and I'm trying to make like a quality melody, then I might have less on the drums. I don't know. I feel like your beat gotta have some kind of balance, like some kind of room. Like you can't have too much going on with the melodies and stuff and crazy drums, or you can't have like too simple a melody and too simple.
You can,
drums.
but you'll just be listening to that beat by itself.
Yeah. It's got.
No one's gonna hop on that.
Something about the beat has to stand out. Like
correct.
Whether it's the sounds or the.
And that's why I've been doing the more is less thing with my hi-hats.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've had people tell me, like Sauce would tell me all the time, like, dude, your percussion is crazy. Like, it's different. Like, it's not in a bad way. It's just different. But sometimes I feel like that's due to because, like, I sometimes I try to make the beat too busy, like percussion or complex.
Do the same thing.
And it's like, really, like, let's just make it simple, and that's just going to hit too. Like,
I feel like I be trying to outdo myself. Like, how can I make this?
I mean, because it almost feels like that when you're doing it every day. It's like, I literally made a beat this way yesterday 3 times. Am I really about to start making this beat the same exact way that I did yesterday 3 times? No, you kind of want to challenge yourself and you say, okay, let me do things differently. Let me do it this way, do it that way. But I feel like there's always one process that we have that leads to the best results. Like if you're sitting with me and you're like, I need this type of beat and we're about to make a song together, I'm not about to pick this day to experiment with a new process.
It's like you go to your old reliable.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to do what works. Like it's not that other stuff doesn't work. It's just that I know this works for me. Yeah. It's like almost like the food thing. You said you could eat Chick-fil-A every day. Well, yeah, I could too because I know every fucking time it's gonna be exactly what I need. It works.
Chick-fil-A works
like,
for me.
Sometimes, like it's not that I have trouble trying new restaurants. I love food. Like I love to try new shit. I love, finding new places. But at the same time, if I know I can go to this one spot and get my food good every time, it works for me. And that's okay. Oh my God. Yeah, but that works for me. And it's the same thing with music. It's not like, but you have to know when you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like if my girl is like, let's go try this new restaurant and it's got way better chicken than Chick-fil-A, and I don't at least try it once and I just stay with Chick-fil-A, well, then I'm shooting myself in the foot. If I have an opportunity to learn from someone who, may be doing something different and I choose not to, explore that information, that is my own fault. Right. And then, I possibly skip out on what could be another tool in my arsenal or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I always listen to different ways, like, because I still feel like I don't know what I've been doing.
Hey, man, I almost love that feeling, though. I kind of like being in the moment and feeling like I have no clue what I'm doing, but it's still hard at the same time.
Nice.
Like that's usually when I'm like sound designing melodies. I'll just be putting a shit ton of plugins and like, let's play with this knob and see what happens. But I've done that enough in my spare time so that when I get into a room with an artist, I'm not wasting their time and experimenting like that. Sometimes you have to create the vibe. But yeah, like I'll just go in and like, oh, I have this plugin. What is this? And then throw it on some shit and be like, okay, it sounds like this. Cool. If I want it to sound like this, I'm going to go back to that plugin or whatever. Like that's why so many people, do you use halftime?
Yeah.
Yep. So many people use halftime. I mean, dude, it's guaranteed that it's going to be hard as fuck when you throw halftime on there.
Except when it doesn't work.
Yeah, except when it doesn't work.
Sometimes you be excited to throw it on something. And it's like, bro,
and it's just too low and muddy.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So during the break, you were talking about you put your executive producer hat on.
Oh, yeah. This was for me and my homeboy, Bando Bags. Y'all go check him out on IG and all, streaming platforms at Bando Bags.
He just came out with some?
Yeah, he just dropped the tape last week. An EP I executive produced. I chose all the songs. I mixed like 7 out of 9 of them. I did the transitions and stuff.
Well,
that's fire.
It's pretty
If nothing else, because I've never heard it, we'll be hearing it, or I'll be hearing it for the first time today. I don't know if you've ever heard it or not. But if nothing else, Bando Bags is one of the coolest names I ever heard.
Yeah.
Pretty hard. The alliteration, too.
Because his last name, is literally like Bagby. So growing up, we'll always call him Bags. And so when he decided he was about to start like rapping for real,
like Bagby? That'd be cool if his name was like the Great Bagby instead of the Great Gatsby.
The Great Gatsby, the Great Bagby.
Yeah, that'd be dude.
Yo, watch.
Hey, if
you messing around, but he'll listen to this podcast and his next mixtape will be like the Great.
I was just about to say that. Look, man, if you listen, Mr. Bando Bags, look, man, the Great Bagby.
The Great Bagby.
Hard. I don't want any royalties or anything. Just let's hit me up on Instagram.
We'll do it.
So, give us a song.
Let's listen to some shit.
Give us a song that you mixed. One of your favorite songs that you mixed off of Bando Bags.
Because
I tried to make it like a mixtape, like a old school,
like a DJ drama.
Yeah. So
were you in there? Were you in there yelling like?
Nah.
Bando Bags.
If I had some drops, I would have put them on there, but I didn't record.
Hey,
if you need some drops, let me know, dude. I've always wanted to get on the mic and hit him with it. Y'all ain't ready for this one.
Yo, but y'all have to check out
Rockstar.
Check out the first 2 songs.
So we got Back Down here,
and then Exotic. Maybe, yeah.
All right, let's listen to it. This is Bando Bags, the project YTB.
That's his label, his YTB.
Oh, okay. So what's the project called? Let's
it's called. Let me see.
Bando Wallace.
Bando Wallace.
It's right here in front of me. Literally the biggest thing on the screen. Bando Wallace. Fucking idiot. Okay, Back Down. Here we go. Bando Bags. This song is called Back Down.
It's YTB and his bitch. I do.
Houston, we have a problem.
First thing first, I'm about to blow her back out. Hit it, then I told her step back. Jerry Stackhouse. You thing first, I'm about to blow her back out. Hit it, then I told her step back. Jerry Stackhouse. You thing first, I'm about to blow her back out. Hit it, then I told her step back. Jerry Stackhouse. You ain't never smelled no dope fumes in the crack house. Got pounds in the trap house, little bitch. I'm about to cash out. Cash out, bitch. I'm about to cash out. Back down, about to beat her back down.
So you were doing all the like effects and stuff at the beginning of the track. Like, yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
How posted in a trap house. Cash out, bitch, I'm about to cash out. This is cash, this is cash, this is cash, this is cash, this is cashed out on a pound and a triple beam. I'ma pull up with that Glock, with that red beam.
You should definitely look into DJ.
On a pound and a triple beam. I'ma pull up with that Glock, with that red beam. Shoot him like 2K from the three. That's a green bean. Baby mama freak, I went touch her on a sneak link. Why these niggas always hang around niggas who on paper?
Yeah, man, I need to be on the Great Bag beat for sure. Hit me up on Instagram.
My house ain't got no name. She think I'm a chaser, but I told her I chase paper. Bendo, 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 why you looking mad? I'm just focused trying to come up on a milli bag. I can't tell you about no shit that I ain't never had. I done did so much with niggas, I ain't gotta brag. He say he gon' pop out when we pop out them Glocks out. She keep my name in her damn mouth, so I ended up in her damn mouth. If you run up with your hands out, then y'all probably gon' see a man down. Bitch, I came up from the dirty couch to the gold house. First thing first, I'm about to blow her back out. Hit it, then I told her step back. Jerry Stackhouse. You ain't never smelled no dope fumes in the crack house. Got pounds in the trap house, little bitch, I'm about to cash out. Cash out, bitch, I'm about to cash out. Back down, about to beat her back down. Trap house, posted in a trap house. Cash out, bitch, I'm about to cash out. I just ran up me a couple bands in my Nike slide. She the throat goat, so I told that bitch get in my ride. I just ran up me a couple bands in my Nike slide. She the throat goat, so I told that bitch get in my ride. I just ran up me a couple bands in my Nike
That transition was smooth as fuck.
On some 26s like I just left in my ride. Ain't no switching sides, so it's genocide. Real shit. Used to drive a fucked up car, my nigga, I had to deal with it. Now all of my bitch look at me like that boy meal ticket. Kiki Palmer call me when she 40, I still hit it.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
There it is. It's YTB and his bitch. I do.
Same song.
No, this is the second song.
Dude, this is still the second song, yeah.
Conversating money talk.
Exotic, yeah, it's the same one.
Little bitch, this ain't no
So
problem.
it transitioned to a new one, and now another.
I didn't even realize that. I thought it.
That's hard.
I don't sell gas, this exotic. I'm smoking on some tropics, conversating money topics. Get money on demand, look, hold this shit is not no problem. Bitch, I'm so what right now? I can fuck off, I'm a product. Bags for my bitch, and I don't wanna talk about it. Bags just got rich, and he gon' shit on everybody. I did it for the clout, bags, he did it cause he started on it. Y'all keep on throwing shots, but they don't hit, little bitch, keep trying. Hey, you jump click to click, and you still ain't on. That's a shame. I just fucked this bitch. I ain't buy shit. He's a lame menace to society. When I pop out, bitch, I'm like Kane. Yo, bitch asked me, can I pull her up some Prince? Purple Rain. Your homie was broken. He came up. He ain't like that shit. All these niggas got stunned to flow, so no, I don't like that shit. Any beat come my way, I'm a Tina Turner out that bitch. Carrot cake around my wrist. I pop out on some icy shit. Yeah. Same young nigga trapping hard on the skateboard. If I want the shit, I'll pay for it. If you ain't got enough, you need to make more, little pussy. Same young nigga trapped out your baby mama house. If I hit your bitch, you can have her back. Cause I don't want her now. I don't sell gas, this exotic. I'm smoking on some tropics, conversating money topics. Get money on demand, look, hold this shit is not no problem. Bitch, I'm so what right now? I can fuck off, I'm a product. Bags for my bitch, and I don't wanna talk about it. Bags just got rich, and he gon' shit on everybody. I did it for the clout, bags, he did it cause he poppin'. Y'all keep on throwing shots, but they don't hit, little bitch, keep trying. I just ran up me a couple bands in my Nike slide. She the throat goat, so I told that bitch get in my ride. Pull
There's
up on some
something about the voice on these like hard trap beats when they sound like they're gonna fucking kill you if they see you fuck around. I love that. that vibe.
His voice was convincing.
Very fucking convincing. And
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of having like all the classic like mixtape like drops on there, dude, I felt like I was in my Honda Civic in 2010 again, dude.
That's how I wanted to feel, like just
You
system
accomplished that.
blasting. Yeah,
That I mean, there's something about that era that like kids today will never understand.
right.
The
Because they didn't have like real mixtapes. Like,
The excitement of having to like go on a website like DatPiff and look at like the what's hot now and go and like, because there was like a point where like all the exclusive ones like on DatPiff and all that, then you have to like buy like credits or whatever to get them, or you got like 5 free credits a
I think
month
you got
or
like
something
5 free, but I'll just make different emails or whatever.
I
Download however
wasn't that
much.
smart.
Finesse.
I wasn't that smart, but I fucking there's something so gratifying about that era, like going on the DatPiff, finding that fire ass mixtape, like when French Montana first started coming out with mixtapes and shit, and like you finding that like the OG
The mac and
French's.
cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And then you burning that onto a disc, something y'all kids will never know about, burning your own CDs, put that in the
And
car.
no, that doesn't include fire.
I was, bro, talking about like the mixes I dropped on SoundCloud. I was doing that in high school, like burning CDs for my own personal pleasure. Then I have friends who want mixes and stuff too. Like, this has always been something I was doing.
Every friend group had the guy that had the like stack of blank CDs, right? That was just like, oh, this is that new Lil Wayne shit that just came out. This is that like.
And then my mom, at one point in high school, she had this thing. It was like a BMG music service, right? And like, you know how Netflix would send you like 2 movies and stuff back? Like this music service, you'll pay maybe like $10 a month or something, but you get 3 CDs, right? So if she didn't want a CD, you could choose from like a list of CDs that was out or had came out. And so like I just started getting mad music that way. Like,
That's like
That's
getting-
hard.
that was genius for the time. I mean, that was back when like Napster got fucked
Bro,
up.
they needed the red box for CDs.
Yeah, you had to have that. That was back if you had an iPod, one of them little ones that spun like that.
oh yeah, with the
I
wheel.
could,
I still have one.
I ain't never even had one, dude. I wish. I might go buy one now just for nostalgia because I never got to have one when I was a little kid. So how did you executive producing that and turning that into what it is? How did that come about? Do you know him before? Did he reach out to you? Like,
Oh, me and Bags, we go back to like 10th grade. Like
hey,
art class, we literally had art class together, and he put me on to like Gucci and Boosie and stuff. Because at the time, my mom had us like real sheltered. Like, she'll really only let us listen to stuff she thought was like acceptable. So she's like, here, listen to Common, and like here's Kanye West. He don't cuss a whole bunch. And then by the time I got to high school, like
Sitcom.
yeah, like Tony showed me like.
Lecrae.
I don't know who that is.
Okay,
Like, bro,
no.
once I got to high school and I learned, like I got put on to, like, Jeezy and, like, all the real trap music. Like, I kicked most of that stuff to the curb. Like, I still listen to it. Like, it is good music, but that's just kind of where, like, the road forks off.
did you ever have one of those snowman shirts?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, me either. I wish I had one of those too.
But what was I saying? Yeah, me and Bags, we've always been working together. Even before I knew I wanted to do like music seriously. Like when I first made like my first beat or two, like I would send it to him, and be like, "Bro, rap on this." Like, and I look back now and be like, "Wow, this beat was really trash," but he did rap on it. Like, and vice versa. Like he'll send me songs, and I'll be like, "Oh, this one, might not be the one, or this one would sound good like with these other songs." Like, so I did a tape for him, Old Dirty Bando. I mixed it last year.
Oh, Dirty Band.
These are some of the greatest names, dude.
I did that one, but and that one was dope too. But I knew from that one like what I wanted to do on Bando Wallace. Like Bando Wallace really like the next step up from the first tape. Just trying to improve upon what we already had going, and just working. You know,
I've never heard the first tape. That was my introduction to Bando Bags.
Oh yeah, the first one, it's got some songs on there. I just felt like I kind of rushed on some of it, but you know,
We all feel like that sometimes.
I feel like there are a lot of things when it comes to like the creation of music that only we are going to hear, but there are also a lot of things like if they stand out too much that everyone is going to hear. Whatever, and I only heard those 2 songs, but there was nothing in there that stood out to me as like a fumble. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
over
and-
criticizing yourself can be like,
I mean, because I think
dark
the
hole.
reaction you got from both of us was essentially what you try to get from anyone who listens to your music. Someone just to listen to it for what it is. Like, you know, I wasn't even listening to it for fumbles or anything like that. You know, like not that, you know,
Bro, I love,
he
like-
said that there weren't any, but you know, it's like it's weird because when you listen to your own music, you're not listening
like
to it
overly
from
critical.
a fan.
Yeah.
You know, you're listening to it as the person who fucking created the shit.
exactly.
Yeah, when I'm listening to, you know, when you showed me his music, I'm listening to it as, you know, any other person who's going to turn on the radio, you know? So,
not to mention like, I'm not going to hate on any local music. I will hate on the superstars because if anyone needs to be hated on is them. They are the ones with all the tools. They are the ones with all the resources. You're going to put out some dog shit songs with all these fumbles in it, and you probably shouldn't be there, and you should make room for some of these local artists. Like, I love NC hip-hop. That is in its necessity why I came to Joe and wanted to do this podcast, because there is so much talent out here without
really
a
is.
platform to talk about themselves other than their own platforms. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This way we can bring you in here and talk about all the artists you work with. From a producer standpoint, that's dope because I mean, we've talked about 4 people that you have worked with so far since you have been here.
Mm-hmm.
Rappers, vice versa. They probably working with 10, 12 producers in a good year, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I really enjoy this local stuff. I enjoy what you do and bring to the table. I enjoy what Joe does and brings to the table with all y'all's camps going on.
And likewise, I appreciate the platform that y'all have created, because I know way too, like, everybody I work with would love to come here, you know what I'm saying, like, and tell their story, share what they're working on.
and
too.
they're welcome to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when we made this, it in my mind, at least, it was easy for me to be like, I want to start out with inviting the people around me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, while, you know, we may not be able to speak on, oh yeah, I just hopped out the private jet and this is that. I mean, I think, but that's cool though, because that's only like 1% of, you know, what everybody sees.
Yeah.
You know, there are plenty of people who make, you know, a living with music that are not, you know, Drake or Gucci Mane or like, you know, and, you know, we make, you know, you have your own business where you're making money off your mixes and masters and your beats and stuff. And you know, have your job and whatever, you know, like this is, I feel like, a better representation of, you know, what it takes to do something you love and share it with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we want to, I mean, because I have my story, Kid has his story. Everybody else is going to have their own way of how they got to that point. But really, everybody has had the same goal in mind, is, you know, to do something with their music, and to be able to, I don't know, share it with people.
Yeah, that's the main thing for me is like, we have discussed it so much, like marketing and getting your music in front of people is so difficult without the like it's difficult without the like mental block you might have behind it. Like, even if you came into the space confident as fucking hell and wanted to like do this, that, and the third in music, if you're just starting out or not even if you're just starting out, like even if you've been doing it for years and things are just not hitting right, it's difficult to like and capture what you're doing and force it into the masses. You know what I'm saying? Like, so mad ears can hear this shit. And it's like, our platform may not be the biggest right now. I'm hoping that it grows in the future, but there is, I know, at least 30 subscribers, not including Joe and myself on our own channels, that like from the analytics watch this shit every time we drop one for at least 20 minutes. And that's 20 minutes of exposure for people that we actually fuck with. You know what I'm saying? That could be beneficial, could not be beneficial, just depends on how the podcast is going. I don't really know. But if me and I'm not gonna speak for Joe, but I'm sure it's the same. If we can help in any way, we're going to. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is what this is all about. So, I mean, speaking of helping people,
and I just fucking enjoy doing it. I mean, I enjoy sitting here and like, you know, chopping it up. Whereas like, you know, almost every person that has been on this podcast so far has been someone that, you know, I've knew in some form or capacity, but I got a chance to really like learn about them
and their process
and you know, stuff like that. Like, you know, everything you told us about like, you know, Banks or Bando Bags or Woozy or 3, you know, things that I never, you know, knew about you. And, you know, I think that's cool that, you know, everybody can, you know, have a story to tell. You know what I mean? And people's stories are constantly changing too. You know, at some point I hope to see, you know, at least a few of our guests, you know, back on here at a different point in their life in which, you know, they could be at the same spot, or, you know, that it appears that way, or it could be, you know, in a spot that they, you know, is a better position. Whatever.
It's taking off.
Yeah,
it's taking off.
I yearn for the days that we have guests that come on again 100 episodes from now, and it's just like, it's crazy, bro. I was here 2 years ago and won't shit happening. Look at me now. Like that would do nothing but bring a huge smile to my face, because I love it. I love it when you know, not only all of North Carolina, but, you know, my heart resides in Raleigh and the surrounding areas. So when big things happen for Raleigh in a genre of music that has completely stolen my heart, that's amazing. But speaking of, you know, helping out people around you or whatever, shout out some people that you're working with, like their Instas, people that you actually care to mention and have their name out there, and then we'll go into a music video of your choice, and we'll get the hell up out of here. We'll get out of your hair.
Bit. So y'all check out, I already mentioned Bando Bags, Banks, Woozy, 3 a.m. Y'all check out Dang LJ on the beats, Sauce the Producers, Too Much Sauce, 5. Sauce. Who else in the cookout? Chillwood, Streety Baby goes crazy. K North goes crazy. Nair the Baby, he got some big stuff. 60. Yeah, Trey 60, Joe Venom. Who else?
Dallin
Dance. Or Slap Maki.
Yep.
Who else? Swerve.
Sin,
yep. Sincere. Or no, it's Ranoff now. Ranoff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Word.
Did I say Student Man? We got a whole project together. Student Man. Y'all check him out. Richie Nelson.
And if you guys want to figure out how to spell any of these @s, just go to my man at HoustonXGeorge, and you know, go to his followers, see who he's following, check these people out, and you know, they'll get you right.
Oh yeah. All right. So just introduce your video, and we can wrap it up.
Video. Dang.
It could be one from the last one we did. I don't know if you guys know this. Some of you might know this. We already did one, and maybe we said it in the beginning of the podcast. I don't know, but the whole thing got fucked up, so we had to do this again. So
What video am I gonna choose? 1 second.
Man, I gotta mow the grass. Just knowing.
Nah, dude.
I mean, I guess I get to ride around the lawnmower, jam some tunes.
I wouldn't cut that.
I
grass
wish
off.
Patron and Bacardi would go ahead and drop so I could go ahead and give it some plays. Dude, that's one thing is like I had never really been on that side of things, like as an artist dropping a song, and now that I dropped it like or set it up to be released on Friday, I've just been checking my phone, like, bro, when is this shit gonna be live? Like, crazy.
How long do you wait before you post something to get it to drop on Friday?
Well, so I mean, what are you talking
This
about? Through
one-
DistroKid?
Yeah.
Well, no. So I don't have. There's an account that you can get where you can set the date. So you could be like, I want it to drop 5 days from now, and then it'll drop 5 days from now. If you don't, if you just have the basic one like mine, it just takes, they say, like 3 to 5 business days, sometimes sooner, and you're just kind of at the mercy of whatever day it drops.
Okay.
And that's mine because, I mean, you can have one artist and really, like, I'm just going to be dropping songs just to have stuff for people to listen to. Like, because it just becomes so complicated when I meet people and it's like, what do you do? Oh, I produce. Oh, can I hear some of your music? And it's like, oh, I got to link them to, like, this guy's beat that
that's
I made.
literally what I'm doing right now.
So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to have some songs of my own. I'm going to throw up there and be like, yo, can I hear some of your music? It's going to be some of the most fire songs that I've worked on that I'm proud of or whatever. You'd be like, yeah, here's some music I work on. You know, no more long ass explanations about how I had a hand in it or whatever. If they have questions about it, then they can ask me, oh, is that your voice? Sounds like many different voices on there. Is that you singing, whatever? And then we can have that conversation. Otherwise, here's my music. Listen to it. Fuck with it. Cool. You don't. Whatever.
There it is.
But yeah, man, that takes forever, man. So much anxiety. Like, I just want to listen to it. Just want to share it.
I was going to say, do you want to play that song we have with 3 in place of the video? Can we do that?
Yeah, we can do that. Do you have it? I think I might have it.
We can play that.
Some unreleased music, 3 a.m. sound.
So you gonna be mad?
I don't think so. I hope not.
We'll be okay.
Please don't be mad.
Come on, man. It will be all right.
This probably won't come out for like another 3 weeks anyway.
Something like that, yeah.
So hopefully it drops in 3 weeks. I don't know.
All right, 3 a.m. sound produced by HoustonXGeorge and yours truly, Namaste.
Io eres mi favorita.
Houston, we have a problem.
That's all you?
What? Shut up. That effect that you put on the guitar.
Angels on my shoulders and I'm wide awake. I know they gon' test me, but I never break. I don't want your energy around me, baby. Next time when you see me, tell me namaste. Devil on my shoulders, that's a lot of weight. I know he gon' test me, so I gotta pray. Recharging my energy, I meditate. Next time when you see me, on the sound of the fucking universe. Gotta stand your ground so they'll put you in the dirt. Making all this music, it's a gift and a curse. Never let nobody ever tell you what you worth. Next time when you see me, it's a Fifi for the verse. I don't trust nobody, I got trust issues. If we honest speak, then I don't fuck with you. Don't ask me why I'm distant, I'm just cut different.
I don't have the ear.
33 for 3, bitch, I'm sky pimping. Realize all the tripping, yet I'm not tripping. Damn, I'm stuck at the top like I'm gone missing. Shit, I've been on the hook like I'm gone fishing. Damn, 1,500 racks and I just spent it. When the last time you was honest, can't remember.
We were trying to get high. Like
Bust that rosaries like I'm a sinner.
if you don't know
Shit get caught like it's December.
that mixing shit.
Angels on my shoulders and I'm wide awake. I know they gon' test me, but I never break. I don't want your energy around me, baby. Next time when you see me, tell me namaste. Devil on my shoulders, that's a lot of weight. I know he gon' test me, so I gotta pray. Recharging my energy, I meditate. Next time when you see me.
Alright guys, give it up for HoustonXGeorge in the house.
Houston, we have a problem.
spam 3 and tell him to drop Namaste.
Hey, yeah, we can do that.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys later.